Prepare yourself for List Off, the gaming podcast where your hosts, Brian and Ryan, rank the things they love. 3, 2, 1, List Off!
This week, unlike List Off, these are the top 10 games that shouldn't have become franchises. So I'm saying we should franchise and be a big conglomerate.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
No, I got it. It makes perfect sense.
Okay.
I think we're inherently, by the episode 3, we were a franchise. By episode 2, we were a franchise. Look at us. Look at us
Absolutely.
now.
I mean, you got stickers. We're going to put bobbleheads of us and lunchboxes.
Yeah. So speaking of which, I might want to do t-shirts,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We have our one of a kind t-shirts right now. Right. Just you and me. That's it.
So I did want to do list off specific ones. I might have, one of our wives draw us up something for butt clenchers.
Yes. I was going to say we should have our craziest phrases and stuff. That'd be good.
Yeah. Weapon Lord.
Oh my God.
I'm a shirt that just is I'm a weapon lord.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, we should do that. Well, hello, Ryan.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
We got a little ahead of ourselves.
We did.
That's what great franchises do sometimes, and that's what we're looking at this week. So before we get to those, do you want to talk about maybe the games that you've been playing this week?
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, we're not looking at great franchises. Well, they might be great, but we're looking at games that shouldn't have become franchises.
Right.
So yeah, I did play a lot of games this week. By last week's recording, I didn't have my Xbox, right?
You did not.
Oh, what a glorious time it has been. I'm really diving into Game Pass. I'm trying everything that I've wanted to play, but it's full of those games that I've debated for the last few years. Oh, it's on sale. Should I spend the $15? Should I spend the $30? And I just didn't. Right. And I'm so happy that I have Game Pass now. It's amazing. It's everything you ever said it was and more.
Yeah.
That being said, I've been doing a little comparison real quick. I didn't have this planned, but I do see the value in both systems. PS5 undeniably feels more next generation.
Right.
Just the controller, the SSD, everything, even something as simple as downloading games. It is awesome to have Game Pass, but downloading games takes a long time on my Series X.
So I'm confused because doesn't the Series X have a solid state, one of those new NVMe drives?
Does it?
I thought so, but maybe I could be completely off.
You might be right. I'm maybe foolish for not knowing the hardware, but all I know is when I am downloading a digital game to my PS5, it happens in minutes.
Right.
When I'm doing it on the Xbox Series X, it takes quite some time. And they're both on the same internet.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, the Series X is great. It's awesome. Game Pass is incredible. It looks incredible. I did play some newer games. I'll get into my games now just so we could talk about that. I played more Red Dead Redemption 2 before the Series X came. Right. And the story really started picking up. I'm definitely still enjoying it. I do want to go back to it at some point. I just really don't know when that'll be right now.
You have to dedicate yourself to it to get full enjoyment.
Yeah. And I knew it was coming. I knew Game Pass was going to be at my fingertips. So, I kind of figured I was going to have to put it aside for a while.
Right.
So that being said, one of the first games I played with my Series X was Streets of Rage 4. I've always been wanting to play this. I love beat 'em ups. This game is cool. It makes me really happy that the developer .emu is the one doing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that's coming out.
Oh, Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So they nail this feel of Streets of Rage. The sprites are beautifully animated, this hand-drawn quality to them all, and it's tons of fun. It's better than the original games, if you were to ask me, and without changing too much of the original game. It's really, really phenomenal.
So you're glad it became a franchise, basically.
Yeah, it won't be on my list.
Okay, good.
So I also played Slay the Spire. I love deck building games. This one's really simple. Definitely simple as far as graphics go, but it's fun.
Oh yeah.
I can't. You know what?
for Slay the Spire, so I like the game enough. but if it had better graphics,
Right.
I would like it way more.
Even just better
it's
effects.
bad, but
I mean, yeah, no, it goes a long way because deck builders are deck builders. They are what they are, but you could really go the extra mile and spruce it up by having like awesome effects when you lay down like a magic card or like, you know, some really cool animations. I
think that's why I liked Hand of Gilgamesh, the Steam World kind of same game.
Right.
It was just a joy to look at.
Yeah. And this is not, this is definitely not, but it's a good deck builder, very sound deck builder. So I'm enjoying that. I played Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Wow. It's a really good looking game. It's hard to say it's a game I'm enjoying. It's not a very lighthearted game.
Right.
But I am enjoying the story and exploring more of it. I think they do this thing. Ninja Theory does this thing when they come out and say right off the bat, they talk to actual people who suffer from these mental illness. So if you don't know, Senua, the main character of Hellblade, Senua Saga, suffers from a mental illness and she's dealing with that. And it plays into the game because you never really know what's real around you. As you're going through, you're getting attacked by enemies and it's kind of apparent that they may not actually be there. And there's definitely inner turmoil in almost every step of the journey so far. I am only a few hours in, but it's jarring. It really is. And you immediately feel for the character you're playing as because the suffering they are going through, in turn, you're experiencing and hearing it when you play this game with headphones. It is a crazy experience.
It tells you to play with headphones too, if I'm not mistaken.
Right off the bat, it does. So, yeah, really, really interesting game. But Ninja Theory does this thing where they said they did the research. They even have the credits right off the bat, and they have like the names of the people who did work with people who suffer from mental illness. So hats off to them for going the extra mile to ensure they're accurately conveying something that is a very serious matter.
Right.
I also played some Sea of Thieves. This game's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah. So you told me that you were playing it. Was that today that you started?
That was today. It? Well, I think I started it last night. Didn't play much. Got through the tutorial last night. And then today was really when I hit the high seas on my own sleep. Right.
So what do you think?
Yeah, it was good. It's something about, I told you I loved Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. Like I love pirate games and this is cool. It's very relaxed, kind of chill.
Very low stakes, right?
Yeah, very, very, and I appreciate that. It doesn't make me feel any sort of pressure for getting anything done. It's kind of like Wind Waker. You can pick something you see in the distance and go to it, right? Breath of the Wild did the same thing, and I'm enjoying that. I did have one part where I ran into another ship, and I was like, whatever, we're going opposite ways. I'm just going to go on my mission. This dude followed me across like 3/4 of the map. And then I get off to do my mission and he starts shooting my ship and blowing it up. And I'm like, dude, like get a mission, get a task of your own, like get a life, get away from me. I know.
His task is to be a pirate. And
that was a little disheartening being a new player and being solo. It's like I really just wanted to get my thing done, and now I just have to get beat up by somebody who's been playing this game a lot longer than I have at this point. But still, I enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun.
I know exactly how you feel, but that's the game. Mm-hmm. Like you have to deal with pirates, basically.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks, but
that's why we got to crew up, dude.
Exactly.
Like, I need someone to man the cannons.
Right.
I couldn't do it all by myself.
It's a lot.
It is a lot for one person, for sure. Yeah. For sure. So on top of that, I played a game called Deep Rock Galactic. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Brian?
Oh, I played that too.
Yeah.
This game was fun. So I've always wanted to play it, and it has been in my library for a while. But it's a procedurally generated like mining dungeon crawler.
I didn't even know
deal.
It was procedurally generated.
Yeah. It's always different. But you are a team of dwarves, so it's meant to be a co-op game.
Right.
Everyone has their different classes. So there's like a driller who can go through things a lot quicker and has different armaments, and then we all kind of, you and I both played different characters
classes,
and like
scout to complement each other. Yeah,
exactly. It seemed like some classes were a little more fun than others, or maybe they just played to people's play styles.
Right.
But I had a lot of fun with that. That was the first time either of us had played. The game does a really good job of onboarding and everything makes sense. It feels a little simplistic. I think that's might just be because we're starting out and it's simplistic, but it's challenging. I mean, we almost died. You did die.
Dude, you died 3 times first on this planet, and I revived you all the times you died.
Yeah.
I die once. Brian takes off and it just leaves me behind.
It's time to go.
If you could have seen it from my angle, these little like alien creatures are literally nibbling on my corpse as I'm like, help me, come back.
Well, that was the problem. Like I was close to death. If I had turned around to help you, we would have both been dead.
Oh, I know. So I'm not really.
The mission came first.
Of course. I would expect nothing less.
Leave every man behind if you have to, is my thought.
Yeah, I mean, now definitely. But at the time, we didn't know that it would work or that like I would receive any benefits. Brian didn't know those things. He just ghosted me. I know it wasn't intentional. I think you got on the ship and it was like, we're taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hardest decisions require the strongest of wills.
Whoa. Yikes. That's right. Going back would have been the hard decision.
Yeah.
No, I had a good time. I do agree. If it's the same thing over and over, I would enjoy it more, like a few more times.
Sure.
But there's a limit to that.
Right.
You know? If it's like drop to this, it's caves. Mine something from those caves, fight off creatures, and then leave.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I'm totally down to play more of it and see where it goes.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm open to having like other randos join our game just to get more. I don't know, just more chaos is always fun in these types of games. So yeah, I'm eager to play more.
Yeah, definitely.
I also played Sea of Thieves. Nice. Was there more on your plate?
Oh no. This is all you now. That was the smooth transition, Brian.
Right?
Don't make it awkward, buddy. No, I'm kidding.
So I played Sea of Thieves, not with you, but with my wife.
Great, wonderful.
Right.
see where I fit in.
So
no, I'm kidding.
Here's the challenge. I have played through A Pirate's Life.
Right.
The first 2 chapters. I think there's like 5 chapters. Is the Pirates of the Caribbean themed part. I have played through the first 2 chapters 4 times now, and I cannot stand playing those 2 parts anymore. So if we're going to play together, you need to go past those first 2 parts, and then I'll join. And I want to see the rest of this because I love Pirates of the Caribbean. It's such a fun adventure series.
Yeah.
And the
it's
music,
like my favorite Disney ride too.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been on it since they've incorporated Pirates of the Caribbean movie stuff. Yeah. Okay. The music is so good. It is the themes from the movies, but done for the game. And God, I forget. I think it's David Wise. That whoever Rare usually has do their music, he does these variations on the Pirates, like just all the different compositions.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So good.
Soundtracks. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm eager to hear the rest of that, see the rest of it, because just looking at the little loading screens and stuff, we're going to see some characters that we know and love from those movies. So I'm really eager to see all of that. The more chapters that I've been playing, the more interesting it is getting. I'm hoping that continues on because the first one, like it sets the mood for sure. It's not super exciting, but it still gets you into that Pirates of the Caribbean mood, basically. But yeah, other than that, it was just Deep Rock Galactic and Sea of Thieves. So
yeah. So I've been doing the game playing.
Yeah, I should mention I tried a little more of Psychonauts just because so many people are really into this game.
Yeah.
I want to keep playing it.
I'm really glad you brought this up because I did play Psychonauts as well. I played Psychonauts too. And
you probably got further than me.
I kind of, maybe, I don't know. I got through a good chunk of the first area. I think I'm basically at the end of the first area. I did actually get through the first area. Sorry. No, I stopped right after I had finished like that first whole dental area. Right.
So you saw the characters like on their ship.
Right.
Then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. That's exactly where I stopped. Yeah.
Okay. I'm a little further than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned, I think maybe off the podcast, that Jason Schreier said he cannot see a fault in this game.
Right.
I see many faults in this game. Like, okay, it's an enjoyable platformer. Don't get me wrong. The writing is very quippy. It's funny. It's definitely quirky. Like, oh look, we're original and like you know, it's all this like, you just got to be in the Psychonauts world to get the lingo kind of thing, right? And like that's cool. It works. You know.
Do you notice the voice actor for Raz?
Should I? Is he from something?
Yeah, I mean, he is Invader Zim. He is Daggett from Angry Beavers.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. It's very good. Like, the voice acting is superb for every character in this game.
Totally.
And they do some really inventive things. Like right off the bat, when you're chasing a character through a hallway, things get zany and like really mind bending uses of, you know, the different stage geometry, things like that. It's really cool what they do. But like the camera's wonky, the combat isn't really that good. I found myself enjoying Ratchet and Clank so much more than this from a gameplay standpoint. Yeah. And so it's interesting to me that it's getting a lot of praise. And from what I played, it is good. I'm not sure it's my type of game at this very moment. I may come back to it. I may not. But to get the praise it's getting, I personally do not see it that way.
Right.
Like it's fine. It's good. There's not like
cutscenes like every 2 seconds too, which is annoying.
Cool. Some of them are cool though, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
It kind of stops the action too much for me.
I get that, but like the action that really killed me. You're basically like, oh, you get to a room, here are guys you fight. And like the way you fight them is kind of clunky. Right. And then once you get through that, oh, you like travel for a little bit, maybe some jumping, get to the next room. Here's some guys you fight. Yeah. And remember, it's clunky. And it's like that whole thing over and over again. And and the camera does get really bad at certain times, which bothered me, you know, to say, and not like Jason Schreier is more accomplished than I'll probably ever be in my entire life. And I love his writings. I love everything he does for the industry, but that stuck with me to say like, I can't see a fault in the game. It's just like, whoa.
Yeah. Different games for different people.
For sure. Yeah. But I'm kind of with you on the whole thing.
Yeah. So I really want to give it a little more just to see if maybe I'm missing something or if it gets better. But right now it's, I don't know. Not all the way there for me.
Yeah, I get that.
All right. Well, if that's all the games, then we should jump into these lists. We've got the top 10 games that shouldn't have become franchises. So for me, this was, the first game in the series, and maybe you didn't even know if it was going to become a series, was probably pretty good. Or maybe not. But then the subsequent games lost the thread, and maybe the whole thing should have just been that first game, basically.
Yeah. I definitely kind of went the same route, or just that the first game was terrible and like, what are you doing?
Should have ended before it began.
Like, well, how did this get approved, kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into that list and see where we're at. All right. So on the top of my list here, the honorable mention is Goldeneye. So I was a little loose with this one.
No, that's right. I would consider it a franchise.
Right. Okay. So I was going to open it up to like James Bond, but I mean, and this kind of happens a little bit in my list, where Goldeneye is not the first like James Bond game by any stretch of the imagination. It is the first GoldenEye game, and they have made other GoldenEye games, and those absolutely should not have been made. So the one I'm talking about is N64. If you don't know what GoldenEye is, then
what?
Yeah. What?
How'd you find us?
Right.
Welcome. We're happy you're here. Don't get us wrong.
Welcome to video games.
Yeah.
Goldeneye is a great game. I would still go back and play this game and enjoy it. And just superb shooting on a console, which was kind of unheard of at the time, and unbelievable multiplayer. I mean, people spent millions of hours playing the multiplayer in this game. So good. The subsequent games, so basically whenever EA got the license to James Bond and to make video games, things kind of fell off the deep end. The other GoldenEye games, there's like GoldenEye Rogue Agent, which was in the 360 era.
Yep.
I remember playing this game and it was so bad. I played it on the Wii, so that might have been the first mistake.
I liked the traps. In the
traps.
multiplayer, you could open pits, like people could be running at you, and then like you press A on something and like you'd push a button and the floor would open up and fall into a pit. I did like that in the multiplayer.
I did not get to that.
Yeah,
I did not delve into any multiplayer.
Sorry, go ahead.
And the game seemed like it might be good because they do the dam from the first GoldenEye and they recreate it, and you're like, oh, this is cool. The graphics are interesting. And then it kind of like deviates from what you know, and then the level does not follow what the actual GoldenEye dam level was. And that was the only level from what I could tell that was like pretty similar to the original. And it was bad gameplay. They did Daniel Craig for the protagonist instead of Pierce Brosnan, which I get it, licensing and all that.
Am I thinking of a different GoldenEye game than Rogue Agent?
Maybe I'm thinking of maybe Rogue Agent is not the right answer.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead. I'm going to look at this up.
Okay. Yeah, please do. Because there was whatever the Wii one is the one that I'm thinking of.
Right.
Which I think it came to other platforms at some point. And I think there were other GoldenEye games that I might be. There's like GoldenEye Reloaded. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Okay. Well, that's bad too. They're all bad.
I had a thought the other day too, because there's a new James Bond movie with Daniel Craig coming out. This is way off on a tangent. I cannot believe Casino Royale came out like 15 plus years ago,
right?
Like Daniel Craig's been James Bond for a long time.
Long time. He certainly has.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the longest Bond was around, but this is probably one of the longer ones.
Right.
It's definitely longer than Pierce Brosnan.
Pretty wild.
That is crazy. I mean, this movie keeps getting pushed back because of COVID, but yeah. Anyway, GoldenEye, great game, but it should never have gone past this game. If they're not going to do it right, then why bother? And I really think it was EA that kind of muddied the waters. So that's what it is. Yeah.
So it looks like there was GoldenEye Reloaded. GoldenEye Rogue Agent is the one that I was thinking of, I think, that had the traps. The GoldenEye Reloaded is the one with Daniel Craig.
Okay.
So, but there's also a few more, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
What else is there?
GoldenEye Source apparently is a game.
Oh, that's the like a fan remake using the Source engine.
Is that the one? Okay.
Yeah. So that one's good. Like that one is actually like
pretty good. Yeah.
But
it's the original
Half-Life.
game.
Yeah. Half-Life engine to recreate N64 GoldenEye.
Yeah, that actually addresses something that I think is important to note. Some of these games on my list, I'm all for remasters. Like, doesn't mean it has to be a franchise. If the first game was that good that like you could do something like GoldenEye Source, cool,
right?
But there didn't have to be a GoldenEye sequel,
right?
Yeah. Good pick though, man.
Yeah,
so my honorable mention is a recent game. It's actually a Plague Tale. Plague Tale Innocence. Yeah. So they may have had this established to be a franchise right off the bat. I know the second game is coming out soon. Plague Tale Requiem.
Right. So that's not out yet, but you're saying
I don't like this game. I loved it. It was great. Good game, right? Very solid. It didn't it wrapped things up pretty nicely,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, kind of, it does leave it fairly open-ended, but it definitely, like, a sequel wasn't necessary. This could have been it. And it sucks because like I'm not a developer. Like these guys probably had an idea. They probably have an idea for a trilogy, and there's definitely enough there to make a sequel. But like playing it, it was a beginning and end, like story concluded. And I think that's something that a lot of games do because they don't know if they're going to sell well enough to get a sequel. You know, they still want to tell a complete story, and I totally understand that. But it does kind of sometimes come off like the sequel's forced then, like, oh, the first game did sell well, so now we have to do a sequel. Sure. And that's not always the case. I don't know if that's the case here, but the game was good enough by itself. It was definitely a good standing on its own, and we'll see.
I feel like we're in the Last of Us territory right now. I don't want to blow your list if this is on there, but right now we know that there's a sequel coming out, and I would argue for The Last of Us, that was a complete story.
Right.
And I didn't need a part 2 when I completed that game, but after getting the part 2, I'm very glad they did.
Yeah.
So we might encounter that for a Plague Tale. We'll see.
We might encounter Last of Us on our list. You never know.
Uh-oh.
No, I mean, I will say, I guess this sucks because no suspense here, listeners. Last of Us is not on my list. I'll say that right off the bat. Like, I think the sequel justified it being a part 2,
and that's what I'm.
And this
I'm
might happen
saying.
with this game too,
right?
And then I'll be like, well, eat my words. But hey, it wouldn't be the first time.
You still had me in suspense just from your facial expressions. Like maybe it's on there. I don't know.
I couldn't do that to you.
Okay.
We'd probably forget to bring it up later.
Right. No payoff whatsoever.
Exactly.
No, that's a good pick. I'm eager to see what we're going to encounter here.
Mm-hmm.
And if the second game gets a lot of praise, I will definitely have to get through the first game then. I've enjoyed the first game, but it's not the game that I want to play right now.
I get it.
Well, good pick. All right. Well, my number 10 is a game called Destiny.
Ooh.
So I have played Destiny. I've played Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have enjoyed them decently well. I have not put the hours into either of them. I've probably collectively between the two probably put 20 hours.
Right.
So not a lot. But my thinking on this one is that Destiny, they should have just had that be the game and then made it a service and not said Destiny 2. This feels like it was Activision when they were a part of this whole scenario saying, well, you got to get a box that has a number 2 on it. We got to sell that and go from there.
And now the second one is the platform.
Exactly.
And they kind of regret that it's not just Destiny as a platform.
Right.
So,
yeah. But they are independent now. They are free and clear of Activision. So that's, they can do whatever they want.
Right. That's good for many reasons.
Oh, yes, exactly. So at this point, Destiny 2 is the platform. This one's a little weird because I think Destiny is a good franchise at this point. I would have called it a franchise even with one game, honestly, but I guess that's not really how it works. But yeah, this one could have been left alone. I don't know if it would have been more impactful to kind of leave it as Destiny and gone from there. But
I think it's a good pick.
Just overall thoughts on Destiny. I wanted so much more out of it. I think this game came out at a time where I was like, I want more Borderlands in it in terms of like, I don't know. You had to kind of like do things over and over again, and it wasn't giving me the same like story that I was looking for that like Borderlands I would argue had at the time. And I think it does now, but you have to play so much and with people and raids and this and that. It's overwhelming at this point. So I just throw up my hands and have moved on.
Yeah. I haven't played Destiny.
Well, you have it on Game Pass. You have like, it's a free to play game, but the Game Pass version has the upgrade or the expansions with it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm good.
Right.
So moving into my number 10, this will be a very brief one. It's the Slender Man games. Are you familiar with the Slender Man games, Brian?
I am familiar with the Slender Man, not so much the games.
So it started
YouTube scare.
Right,
videos.
exactly. It started with the Slender Man, the 8 pages, which was like a rudimentary first person game where you're trying to collect these 8 pieces of paper before the Slender Man gets you. It was jump scare, the game, basically.
Right.
But it got popularized because of a bunch of YouTubers and Twitch streamers playing the game and acting like it was the most frightening thing they've ever seen in their lives. So this game did so well that they have now made, I don't even know how many games of this series, and it's all just shovelware. Like, it's all jump scare.
Right.
If there is anything good in these games, it's not anything that some other game hasn't done better. And not to mention, like, they become really like this meme, and things have happened in real life because of these games and the mythos, and that's really sad. And this game maybe should have never gained that type of popularity in the first place. I don't think it's deserving of it personally. Definitely don't think it's deserving of a franchise. There you go.
So it's a bad game all around.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, it's not. It's not terrible, but like, it's, if that's what you're looking, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, go play a real survival horror game. Like, I don't know. not to poo-poo on
I know what you mean.
Everything about it, but like, there are games that do that very thing better, and it's not just a cheap jump scare gimmick.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wasn't that game VR as well?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Not that
I'm
I
sure
know
one of them
I'm not
has
sure.
been.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure one of them has been.
Yeah. I never played it, but yeah, I just watched videos of people crapping themselves.
They all like have that overreacted. Like,
yep.
Oh, cool.
And there's your thumbnail for the video.
Yeah. Gosh. All
right. Well, my number 9 is Myst.
Whoa.
So I think Myst is a cool game. I think that it would have been cool if it stopped at Myst. I played a little bit of like Riven and Beyond.
Right.
And now there's like just so much. I feel like it just kind of like it did what it needed to do. It was a cool type of that game. But the other games, I don't know. I haven't played too much of the sequels, but I really liked Myst and what it did. And it just felt like it didn't really, it wasn't a thread as much as I would have liked among the other games that came out. And maybe that's just me not giving the other games as much of a playthrough on them. But also it kind of changed like what the games were. I mean, they still had the kind of static screens and things progress from there, but it just didn't have the same feeling that the original Myst did. And I feel like it should have kind of stopped there or become something else and not had the ties to Myst. It should have just been its own thing past that.
Right.
So, I feel like The Witness came out and that does a lot of the same things, but it's different and feels different in a lot of respects. And that's kind of how it felt from like Myst to Riven or Myst to Myst 3, for instance.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, it's a good pick. I've really done Myst and nothing after. So yeah, I agree.
And that's kind of how it should be. I feel like it, like Myst is its good contained thing, I think is my point. Yeah,
no, and I think that's a good point too. Our lists are, of course, subjective.
Right.
Some of these games are on here purely because I played one of them and had no interest to play any more after that.
Exactly.
So in my eyes, the franchise is undeserving, right?
Right.
So no, good pick though, man, for sure.
Thank you.
My number 9. Number 9, Brian, is Pac-Man.
I was waiting for that one on your list.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Call me crazy. Maybe I just have Pac-Man fever. But no, the first game is incredible. And this is where I kind of want to tap into what I said earlier about remasters, right? Things like that. Because there have been good takes on the original game. There was like Pac-Man 246 or whatever. And they have these really cool graphical things going on. But it's ultimately that same gameplay as the original where you're going to get the dots, get the big dots, eat the ghosts, kind of thing.
Right.
Using him as a mascot in crappy 3D games and things of that nature, maybe not the coolest thing to do. I get it. It was at a time and a place in video game history where everybody was trying to make some sales and get on that mascot train. But I think Pac-Man, the original, it was great. And when developers do things like strap a bow on the character to make more money, it's not great, right? No offense to Miss Pac-Man. It's also a great game, but it's also a great game because it is Pac-Man with a bow.
Don't people think that Miss Pac-Man is the better game, though?
Possibly. Maybe it doesn't have that game-ending glitch. I know Pac-Man, when you get to a certain stage, it glitches out and ends. And you're just in this like glitched out screen and can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I actually like Miss Pac-Man. Don't get me wrong, but
Sure.
I just think that maybe we should have had Miss Pac-Man to start the whole thing off and left it at that.
Exactly.
Just one of those franchises that never should have been. Like I'm cool with the first game. Do that
Right.
over and over. It's not what it became.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
Pac-Man
thanks.
is perfect already. Why do anything different?
That's how I feel. Yeah.
All right. Well, here's my version of your Plague Tale, I think. And that is with Overwatch.
Oh,
Because we're making an Overwatch 2. And
I
it's
know.
like, what are you doing? Like, just make, again, we got the game.
Right.
That's the service. Keep making it. I guess they're hoping for just a big splash when Overwatch 2 launches. And I can understand, like, that's probably what, again, Activision is pushing.
Get people
Blizzard to
interested.
do.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, this is an old game by this genre's standards. I mean, this was 2016.
Yeah, but you don't see a Fortnite 2 coming out, do you? Not that they're the same game, but
right. They did that chapter 2, and they tried to.
They've
make
done
that
a bunch. They do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that more of a season thing though?
Yeah.
At this point?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Overwatch doesn't do seasons. They have events and they have like different things that are happening, but it's not the big splash.
Right.
And I think this is probably their thinking. They want that big splash again, where they can say like, all right, go out, get the boxed copy of this PC game. I don't know. You don't really do a box copy.
And there's a code in it.
Right.
There's a code in the box, not a disc.
You know what?
Yeah.
People would actually buy it if it was one of those gigantic PC boxes.
Oh, right. That'd be
Even
cool.
if it was just a code.
Just a code.
People want those big boxes again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these types of games just exist, and you're not buying anything different. This is just like, you're going to buy this game and it's going to be the same kind of thing. Like, there's no story in Overwatch either. So we're not even getting a whole different thing. Like with StarCraft and StarCraft 2, there was a whole campaign and there were differences between them at that point. So that doesn't really lend itself to be anything than what it was. But yeah, Overwatch, I think, just exists in that live game arena.
Yeah. And it's different times too than when, StarCraft came out, right? Like,
right.
Now we live in an age where things should be a platform if they're capable of that.
Right.
There's really no reason not to have that now, and to have these annual releases or number 2s come out. It's kind of like, man, just like work on the first one and make that the platform.
Right.
Not the case when StarCraft and StarCraft 2 are dropping.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a good pick. That's what I've heard. I haven't played Overwatch. I played it. That's why it wasn't on my top 10 list. I've never played, because I have actually gotten in and played a match or two, but that's about it. Yeah.
Not your thing.
I don't know. Maybe it was. It wasn't my thing at the time.
Gotcha.
So it just never went back to it after that,
Sure. Well, there's crossplay now, so everyone can play together, which is cool.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So,
but also Activision boo. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Now there's that baggage.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 8 is the Yoshi franchise.
Oh,
yeah, this is where it starts getting pretty bad on my list. I'm probably going to catch a lot of hate. There's a lot of Nintendo mascots. We covered our best Nintendo franchises, and like Kirby didn't even make the list, for example, for either of us. But that's my point. I enjoy Kirby games more than I enjoy Yoshi games, right? Like, Yoshi is a franchise. I just think it's because they're trying to capitalize on the fact that people like the character. I don't feel like any of these games have been that phenomenal. By the way, Yoshi's Island is a Super Mario World game in my mind when I say this, right?
It's Super Mario World 2.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, have those games, right?
Right.
Or have a game like Super Mario World where he's very much a supporting character. Sunshine, very much a supporting character, right? Like he works in that aspect. He is a great addition to the Mario franchise, but I just don't think we need Yoshi games. Like,
what is a Yoshi? Like, what is the first Yoshi game that?
Yoshi on the NES.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a game titled Yoshi for the NES. That's the first one that I know of.
I haven't played that.
Yeah,
there's like Yoshi Cookie is the only other one I can think of.
And Yoshi's Story, right?
Right. Yoshi's Island, and
right.
Or not Yoshi's Island. What was the one that just came out on
there's
the
Woolly
Switch?
World, and then there's Crafted World.
That's it.
There's but like it's always the gameplay just leaves something to be desired because he always stops to throw an egg and you got to angle it, and it's like this just breaks any sense of action or like flow that you had going prior to that. And they just, I don't know, it's not the best. Nintendo's got a crowded lineup, and it amazes me that we haven't seen a Punch Out, since the Wii, but we get Yoshi games every time a console drops. Like I would be lying if I told you I wasn't a little bit sour about that.
I mean, honestly, Yoshi games occupy the same space as Kirby games to me.
Right.
Kirby games are way better.
Yeah.
I will attest to that, but they're both in that, like, these are the very kiddie Nintendo games that you can play with your 5-year-old.
Yeah. Kirby's fun though.
Yeah.
That's
a good pick. I didn't even consider Yoshi. That's how much I don't think
people love
it.
Yoshi. I wonder what I'm going to hear about this, but like, I don't.
Yeah, no, and yeah, you're right. Yoshi's Island is part of the Super Mario World, just world, let's say. So,
yeah,
and that's the best Yoshi game. Anyway,
that's the best Yoshi game. It is the best Yoshi game. Exactly.
Right.
Like that's the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
it's not his.
Different one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, sticking with Nintendo, I'm putting Star Fox on here, and do we have a rule that says like the first game is the one that has to like dictate what happens? Because Star Fox,
I will say I chose my list based around that very idea there, that the first game dictates whether or not, so I actually thought about Star Fox, so I'm not mad for it being on your list, but my logic was like, well, the best game came after the first. Okay. So yeah, but
that's the only good game still in my mind.
Right. It's true.
So, okay. Well, in that case, for Star Fox, I'm going to say I can live without Star Fox 64 in my life as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Star Fox, the game, was a cool use of technology.
Yeah.
And they should have just stopped there because they haven't done anything worthwhile with this franchise. Mm-hmm. And even now they're just like scraping the bottom of the barrel to put out anything that has to do with Star Fox. Mm-hmm. They could do a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's ripe with. I mean, it's sci-fi. It's animal mascots, which Nintendo does a good job with. Yeah. But they're just and we've seen that they can kind of jump to different genres, but they just have not put something good together.
Do you hear my distaste here?
Yeah.
I want Star Fox to be a good franchise. I do.
It could be.
It should be. Should be, Brian. Should.
I mean, Rare made the best Star Fox, and they tried to make a Zelda Star Fox, and it wasn't in the cards.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
doesn't need to be a franchise.
So the first Yoshi game was actually Super Mario World, just so you know.
The first Yoshi game,
was Super Mario. Well, not hit on his own. The first game he appeared in was Super Mario.
Really?
World.
So what is Yoshi? There's no
Yoshi. It came after. It is Yoshi on the NES.
Really?
It was actually Yoshi for the Game Boy, and then they put it on the NES.
Okay.
But it came after Super Mario World.
That's so weird.
It was like because Mario World was a launch game,
right,
for the SNES. Yeah.
And the NES was still going strong at that point.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How many times does that happen? Jeez.
Right. Yeah. So did you say that Rare developed the best Star Fox game?
Yes.
They didn't do 64, did they?
Yeah, that's Rare.
No, is it?
100%.
No way.
I will stake my life on it. You look it up, man. I'm a
How did
million.
I not know this?
Yeah, that's rare.
No way. I got to look this up
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
I thought.
Why do you think they
it
made?
might be under Nintendo as a developer because it's like when Rare was developing for Nintendo. I don't know. Now this says Nintendo EAD is the developer.
Okay, now I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, we'll move past this and we'll come back to this later. I'm gonna do my number 7.
You do that.
So,
I have got to figure this out now.
When it comes to franchises, Brian, there are a lot of Ubisoft franchises to choose from, right? There are franchises such as Assassin's Creed or Far Cry. And honestly, I considered both of those franchises for my list, but I think ultimately the one franchise that shouldn't have been one that comes out of Ubisoft is Watch Dogs.
Like, I never played a single one.
There are redeeming qualities to Assassin's Creed. The history is nice. The gameplay is fun. There have been good entries after the first for Assassin's Creed. For Far Cry, the best entries were after the first game. And it's its own thing in a lot of ways, regardless of the fact that it's that same thing over and over. But Watch Dogs just kind of was like a GTA clone with cell phones. And like, I don't know. I don't think I was surprised to hear when a sequel was announced. I guess the sequel did well too. So we'll see if there are more of them, but it's just that thing where it's like
3 now.
There are 3. Is Legion the third? Is that right?
Yeah.
Legion was the 3rd.
It's like in London, I think.
Yeah. And I don't know if that did well, but anyway, I just, it's another one of those like open world crimey games and now there's tech in it, but like all these open world crime games have tech in some way.
Right.
And I don't see a point to it. I know it's terrible. There are probably people who love these games, but like I felt like I had to choose one of these 3 franchises. And if it was going to be one of the 3, it had to be Watch Dogs.
Yeah. I think that's the weakest of the ones that you mentioned because I was thinking Far Cry, but then I ran into the first game. Yeah, it was whatever. But then the third game was really, really where it took off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I am wrong about Star Fox. I think I just have some sort of wire that was getting crossed in my brain. Like,
well, it's a good Nintendo 64 game, so it has to be Rare, right? Which like is a valid point, Brian.
I really don't know how, like, because I know Rare did Star Fox Adventures. There's no denying that.
Right,
okay.
Right.
So maybe I just connected that at some time.
Yeah, maybe.
And then the Rumble Pack and then maybe the expansion pack for DK64.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something got mixed up in my brain.
It's all good.
Oh man, I'm so embarrassed. Can we start the episode over?
Give me your gamer card.
No.
Let's go. Turn it in, buddy. No, I'm kidding. Come on.
What I really meant was the best Star Fox game is Star Fox Adventures.
Yeah,
which
I was
developed
like,
by Rare.
That's why I was seeking clarification when you said the best Star Fox game was developed by Rare. I'm like, he didn't name the game. What is he saying here?
Man,
we gotta clear that air because if he is saying Star Fox Adventures is the best, we're gonna go off for a little while here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's avoid that, and I'll just give you my gamer card, and we'll go from there.
You can keep it, man.
Okay.
It's worthless. I'm kidding.
Yeah. It kind of is. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's your number 6, dude.
All right. Here's my number 6. It's Chrono Trigger. So
I was wondering if this would be on your list.
Yeah. So I did not like Chrono Cross. I know a lot of people did. I know, like, I think GameSpot gave it a perfect score. It was like one of the first ones that they gave out.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a departure from Chrono Trigger and in look and feel and gameplay. Like everything about it was completely different. It felt way more Final Fantasy than anything. Mm-hmm. And that was not what I was looking for with this franchise. And they obviously have not done anything else with it. I mean, there have been times where Square like secures a trademark for like Chrono Break or there have been names out there and people get excited and then it's nothing. Mm-hmm. But Chrono Trigger, one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just was, I put a lot of hours into Chrono Cross, and it did some cool things. I did not like the art style. It suffered being part of the PS1 era of games because I played it way after too. So obviously things were way more technologically advanced. When I got around to playing Chrono Cross, I actually played it on PSP was the majority of where I was consuming it. And oh man, I didn't like that game at all. And Chrono Trigger is just leaps and bounds better. So could have stopped there and called it quits.
Yeah, no, it's a good pick. I didn't put it on my list. Had a feeling it might be on yours.
Right.
But it's a good one. It's a good one for sure.
Did you play Chrono Cross at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. You should keep it that way.
I'm very happy to. So moving on to my number 6. My number 6 is Outlast. Have you played the first game?
I have played probably like an hour.
Okay. But by that time you have an idea of what the game is, and it's that through and through. This is one that it was fine. Like the first game was great, told a good story. Would have liked to see the developer do something else like in that genre rather than this try to do the same thing. And now I think they're going on like the 4th title in the franchise. The second game too, I'm not going to judge it purely by the second game. I think the first game was really all that was necessary. And then you could, like I said, just try something else, stick with the genre if you want, but try something else. And they kind of did with the second game, but it ended up being like really open, and it didn't feel like the first game at all. The stakes didn't feel like the first game, just the tension didn't feel like the first game. But I really don't think there should have been a second one. I really don't have much else to say. Enjoyed the first game. It's not because the first game wasn't good. It just really, it felt like the sequels were unnecessary in this case. Yeah.
It feels like in these situations, the developer has something that is good. And then they want to just like get that lightning in the bottle again. And sometimes it doesn't work out.
And then they end up being the developer that makes that game.
Right. Which is dangerous.
Yeah.
So I feel like the good thing to do in these situations is to like make something else. Like obviously we're armchair developing
for
here,
sure.
But
for sure.
Yeah, make a good game. And then if you have a really good idea, like I never heard anything about Outlast to Outlast 2 being like, oh, this is different. It just felt like we're gonna make another one of those and go from there. That's not enough in today's climate to get people excited most of the time.
And now this developer is like, that's what they are. They are the Outlast developer. Yeah, that's tough, man.
Right.
That's what you like. And I, like you said, we're armchair developers here, but like that's what you are now. Like,
yeah, if they even exist. I mean, I don't know.
No, they do. They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Red Barrel. I think it is Red Barrel.
That's a cool name for it.
Yeah. Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got some surprising ones on my list. I think you'll be like, oh, all right. Use that Zoom reaction if you want to. But my number 5 is Perfect Dark.
Oh.
So there have been, by my count, 3 games. We've got Perfect Dark Zero, and then Perfect Dark for the Game Boy Color, which was horrendous. But as a kid with a Game Boy Color and who loved Perfect Dark, I suffered through this game because I was like, well,
I want to
I want to use this transfer pack for something. And it was not worth it.
Tell yourself it's good.
Exactly. Yeah. So Perfect Dark, phenomenal game. This is a good situation where you have a really good first game of Goldeneye, and then you make something completely different. But I don't know if they were planning this before, but this was something that they could take with them. This was Rare's development, and it didn't have the stupid James Bond license. It wasn't tied up in all these things. It was their own creation, and they could bring it with them, along to Microsoft when they got bought by them. So it didn't need to be a franchise because Microsoft completely just did not use the license the way they needed to. Again, we have a new game in development that is going to be years and years away, I imagine.
Yeah, probably.
Well, maybe I'll be eating my words then, and Perfect
I
Dark
doubt
will be
it.
a thing. I kind of doubt it too. Like
Yeah.
I haven't heard or seen anything that would get me excited about this game.
Like, what's going to be special about it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
other than nostalgia.
And see, that's the thing. I think that when we're in this situation where there's a game from way long ago and a game, you know, that they're trying to use that same license, what do you do? What do you try to capture what was in that first game and what people were feeling and trying to mimic that?
Right.
Or do you just make something completely different and make it its own special thing? I think that's the answer, because
I do too. Like pay homage, like have these little nods to what came before, but yeah, make it new.
Right.
Yeah.
Just you use the story and characters and all that, but make something new. I think that's really the answer.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to make a first person shooter. You can make it be something different.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. It's good. Rip Joanna.
Yeah, you can keep Joanna. I mean, she's already been confirmed, but based on that one trailer.
Yeah. So yeah, no, good pick, man. This is another one I thought might be on your list.
Right.
Gotta be honest with you. So the shock was there, but maybe not a whole lot.
Okay.
What's one I would have considered for my own
sleeve.
list? Yeah, I'm sure. So my number 5 is a game called Driver. This just like it came out and then GTA came out and it was like, why Driver?
Oh, you mean Drive 3-er?
Well, that was the third one. Yes,
okay.
The Drive 3-er was very, very clever there. But no, these like there are games that do it so much better. Even when this game came out and it was just like, like how did this become a thing? The first game wasn't bad, but then everything after it was like, no, like other games do this way better than this game does.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here? And yeah, it just, especially by the time that GTA started hitting its stride, because it's like there was, and not to say the games are complete 1-to-1, like they're not at all. Driver is astonishingly more about the driving aspect. But
GTA does driving so well.
Right. And there's so much more there that these games felt like, why would I buy a game for the same amount of money that only has a portion of the gameplay?
Right.
And yeah, I just don't know why this is a series, why it became a series. Are people fans of Driver?
I doubt it at this point.
Were people fans of Driver?
I never picked up the game ever. So
yeah, let us know on social media. The links are in the show notes below. We're on Instagram at Listoff Podcast, on Twitter at Listoff_podcast, and you can email us at Gmail at listoffpodcast@gmail.com.
Did you ever play? It was during the GTA Clone Wars, where it was like an LA. It had the whole map. LA, like Los Angeles, you could drive.
Really? Oh, Sleeping Dogs? No. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. And I think they made a sequel to that was like in a different city or something.
Yeah.
I need to find that.
Was it like Streets of LA? Was it literally called something like that?
Crime Street.
Right. Crime. Yes. Something Streets of LA or something. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, now I gotta look this up.
Yeah, you look that up while I get into my number 4, because I think that's a franchise.
True Crime, Streets of LA.
True Crime.
Yeah.
Are there other games in that franchise, or did they?
I think there was. I think there was a sequel. Yeah.
Okay. True Crime, Streets of LA. Man, it's been a while.
Right.
I had a friend. Oh my god.
Yeah, there was True Crime, New York City.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this story is true or not. But when this game came out, I think I was in like middle school, and this kid, he's like, this game's so good. I was playing. This is him talking.
Yeah.
I was playing it, and my family was on vacation in Los Angeles, and I had a monitor in the car, and I was playing this game. and it was a map of LA, and I told them which way to go using the video game.
That's pretty cool.
I don't think it's true. Like, there's no way that that's actually what happened, and this guy was just BSing.
Right. But that would have been cool.
But that would have been cool if that's actually what was happening.
Even if you weren't like telling your parents, if you were just like, hey, I'm on this street, like in the real world and in the game, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
don't know if I believe this guy, but that's what he claimed.
If you get anything from this story, it's don't lie. Don't lie, people.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't BS Brian. There's no BS in the B Ryan.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't BS the BS.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. With that, good transition into my number 4, which is Turok.
That's a gasp. That
really?
Is blasphemy.
Okay.
Blasphemy.
So you're of the mind then that Turok, like, let's say what 2 is the best Turok game?
No, I don't think so. I think the first Turok game is the best Turok game.
Okay. Well, Turok should have ended at 1.
I think the second one had a better Did the first one have multiplayer?
No, it was just a single player game.
Yeah, but the second had good multiplayer. In my opinion. When I played it when I was like 18. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, Turok, while a good guy,
swell fella, that Turok, Turok, real stand-up gentleman.
Yeah.
But
I
where
almost
we going?
named my firstborn Turok, but Acclaim was no longer giving money out to do that. So I stopped.
So you're stuck with Dovahkiin.
Yes. Waiting for that check still from Bethesda. But Turok has not done what he needs to do to make a living anymore. And he's had plenty of games and they've all just kind of flopped. The N64 had the best use of them.
Mm-hmm.
Seeds of Evil, very good. Oblivion, pretty good. But yeah, I mean, just have the first game and be done.
Yeah. No, I mean, everything after that, like, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I see where you're coming from, but I couldn't put it on my list just because the sequel was good.
Okay.
I have a lot of good memories of the multiplayer of the sequel and that brain bore or whatever.
Oh yes, cerebral bore.
The cerebral bore. We've brought it up before on the show, man. That is iconic. It's iconic stuff.
If you are feeling adventurous, you should grab that soundbite and play it right now.
Cerebral bore.
Yeah, it's gruesome. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Man. No, it's a good pick. I get it. I almost put it on mine, but I'll put something that's going to anger even more people on mine instead, and that is the Lego franchises. Dun dun dun.
So, what Lego game needs to exist then?
All of them once. I'm counting each individual one as a franchise. So, like Lego Star Wars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 could just be Lego Star Wars.
Right? I see.
And then you got like Lego Harry Potter 1, 2 through 8 or whatever. It could just be Lego Harry Potter. Same with Lord of the Rings. Same with everything. The Lego games are enjoyable games, but we don't need Lego Marvel superheroes and Lego Marvel Avengers and Lego Marvel superheroes too. It's just like, it's a bit much. If you have these better gaming ideas, because these release like really soon after each other, like let's just hold off, put it all in one, get a real good like tight game in there and ship it. And like I'd be on board. I literally don't buy Lego games anymore and I enjoy them because it's like, well, why should I? Like I could literally pick any one of these up and it's the same game.
Right.
It's the same exact game. Yeah, I loved the Lego Star Wars games. I did like the Marvel superheroes ones too. And, they're all good in their own way, but like there doesn't have to be so many of them. We could stick with one per franchise. Every franchise that's ever been popular gets their one Lego game and we move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a lot cleaner for just thinking about these games. But
we had the conversation last week where it was like, Gamescom, they announced Lego Star Wars 5 or whatever it is. Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, and it's just like, wait, what? Like, haven't they done this already?
Right.
Like it's not even clear anymore. What? That's the problem.
Yeah,
what's happened? Didn't they do the entire Skywalker saga? Like, how is this? Like, what is happening? I don't.
Yeah. They've definitely said the complete saga before.
Yeah,
which doesn't make any sense.
Right, and it's honestly, it's a little tiresome. Lego, sit down. You've had enough.
Sit down. They're hurting themselves at this point.
Yeah, I doubt it. I'm sure they're making tons of
money. Yeah, no, that's why they're doing it, because they're making money hand over fist with these games. They're never going to stop.
Yeah,
I'm not buying them. I'm not part of the problem.
Me neither.
All right, well, that's a good pick, and I will never be playing one of these games again, probably. Yeah. By my number 3 is Earthworm Gym.
Wow. This is a wow for me.
This is a wow. Okay.
Yeah. Didn't you say you liked Earthworm Gym 3D?
I like Earthworm. No. Oh my God.
Didn't you say horrible. It's like one of your top 5?
No, but I'm going to make that part of my personality now. The guy who really likes Earthworm Gym 3D.
Yeah. Earthworm Gym 3D top 5.
I mean, it does have good pork boarding, but that's about it. Earthworm Gym, the first game was fun. Mm-hmm. The second game, I don't remember too much, but it was more of the same. Yeah. And then Earthworm Gym 3D is just, it killed everything. It killed the entire franchise. Yeah. We don't talk about Earthworm Gym anymore because of Earthworm Gym 3D. And that's bad.
Yeah. No, I always thought he was an Earthworm Gym guy.
I like Earthworm Jim.
Do you?
He has a very unhealthy gun obsession. I think it's a little weird how massive the guns get with this kind of like kids franchise. But
man, I think this is the episode where all our listeners find out that Ryan is in fact a bigger fan of Earthworm Jim than Brian is. No, I'm kidding. No, I get it. It's a good pick. Everything you said is justified. Yeah, for sure. So we're in the top 3 now. Earthworm Jim, be damned. My number 3 is Telltale's The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you lay this out for me? Because I don't know what exists in this.
So there's a lot of games after this.
Really?
They did 400 Days, I think, was like the in between 1 and 2, and it introduced some characters who were in 2 for a very brief period of time. And then there was 2, there was 3. I think there's even 4 now. I think there's also a game in between 3 and 4. I'm not even sure. Honestly, I played 1, the in between, the 400 Days one, and then I played 2, and like it became apparent like it probably should have stopped at 1. What they did was the same thing that occurred in 1. You run into groups of people, you have interactions with them, things either happen, either you part separate ways on good terms, or they die because it's a zombie apocalypse. People die. But the first game was so good. The story was so good. And like the ending was just, it's iconic. Like, people remember this ending now. And it was, years and years ago at this point, probably almost a decade ago now, maybe less. But it told the story. It did, obviously, like Clementine left. She was, there was more they could have done with that character. And they did do with that character. But they didn't have to. You don't play as Clementine throughout the whole first game till the very end. So I feel like having that switch to her was powerful in that moment. I talked about it on this podcast before, as far as the end of that game goes. And it just seems like everything after was trying to have the same emotional stakes and just never reached that, in my opinion. So could have stopped at 1.
Sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan problem. Like,
oh,
well, we have to have this twist, or we have to have this really big moment, and you never lived up to that again.
Right. Yeah. Good game, though. Great game. Like, don't get me wrong. If you haven't played the first Telltale Walking Dead, do it. I think it's on Game Pass, Brian.
Is it really?
I think it is. I think the entire series is on Game Pass, actually. So maybe I'll delve back into it and finish it and have a different opinion, but
I tried on PSP and I don't think it was quite for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I should stop playing games on PSP. Maybe that's part of the problem.
That might be.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you don't like, this is not a point and click adventure, but if you don't like point and click adventures, you probably won't like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like the choices that you get in Mass Effect, and that's it.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah,
that
it's basically
it?
dialogue.
Okay.
The game is dialogue
choices.
choices. There's a
Okay.
little more to it, but it is a lot
Sure.
of like dialogue choices and just making the right choices or
Right.
living with the consequences.
Okay.
But it's still good. Story's good enough for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
I only play games with guns in them, so
yeah. Speaking of point and click adventure games, not games with guns, Brian.
Look.
I want to say I did also try 12 minutes. I didn't even mention it at the beginning of the episode because like I just keep in mind I just went through Disco Elysium, right? I literally turned it on and I pointed and clicked and I got to the room and like, my wife is trying to give me dessert and I had to point and click everywhere and I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. And I shut it off and I'm not going back to it for a very long time. I'll tell you that much. Cause I'm just like, nope, I'm not pointing and clicking anymore. Cause you actually move the cursor. You actually have to move the cursor to what you want to select. No, I'm like, forget it. You're off. Get out of here.
It's probably better on PC, but yeah.
No. Yeah. Nope. Anyway.
Controls got in the way. Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. You probably honestly put enough time into it at this point.
It was like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Not even 12.
You didn't even play 12 minutes. No. Okay. Got it. All right. Well, speaking of games with guns, my number 2 is Dead Space.
You leave right now. This is bad, Brian. This is bad.
Okay, but 3 is the problem.
3 is the problem.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so
like ignition is the problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
So here's the problem. 3 is the problem. 3 was so bad that they just stopped, and only until now are we getting back to getting. This was going to be the new Resident Evil,
right?
For me, this was like huge franchise.
Yeah, it was that for a moment in time,
right?
Yeah.
And then they just squandered it, and now they're trying to get it back, but it was just so poorly handled. And it's EA getting in the way of itself, which I think they are doing less and less frequently now. They're trying to let these games flourish. I mean, Star Wars.
Battlefront 2.
No.
Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes, that's the one. I'm not thinking of these games right now. Like it seems like they let. Help me out. Who's the developer?
Oh my God! Starts with a V. Come on. God, why are you putting me on the spot? Talk about your game.
Hey,
this
man,
isn't even my turn.
I'm having a problem. This never happens to me. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Oh, this is so embarrassing. It's Respawn.
It's Respawn. Yeah.
It's Respawn. V. Yes, I know, right? V. What the heck am I talking about? Well, I'm thinking Visceral. I'm thinking Visceral.
Oh, okay.
Because you're talking about Dead Space. So don't put me on the spot, buddy.
Here we go. Dead Space. If they can't get it right, it should have just been the first and I guess the second. Anyway,
that's a franchise.
I know. It's a tough one.
So I'm going to argue against you here. I have let you get away with a lot.
You've let me get away with a lot.
I'm going to say that you're wrong on this one.
Okay.
I get it. Like, look, I get it. The third was bad, but like the second was good, and Extraction was good on the Wii.
Okay.
So like that right there is 3 games in what maybe I think a total of 5 games for the entire franchise, and 3 of them are good. I'd say it's deserving. I would say it's deserving. Yeah.
So Dead Space is
it's fine. It's your number 2, not mine. Like, I wouldn't have it on my list. Let's put it.
I have the first game downloaded from Game Pass right now, and I intend. It feels like it's going to be a while until that remade Dead Space comes out. So. Know.
Probably a little while, but like I'll probably play the second one and not the first because I want to relive the first when this new one comes out.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's all I have to say.
It is on Game Pass, both of them. All 3 of them actually are on Game Pass. So there you go. So my number 2, Brian, is a franchise I really enjoy. I've been the only one of us 2 who has spoken pretty highly of it on this podcast, and it's Mario Party. Yeah. I just think it's like these are fun. These are fun games, and it's one of the things where you had said, "Oh, with Star Fox, right? Does it have to be the first game that dictates it? I would love that, like the new Mario Party that's coming out. I would love for that to be the only one we ever got, because it looks like it's the greatest hits from all the ones that came before. Not Super Mario Party. There's one that's coming out soon, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's like the top mini games or something.
Right, exactly. And like top 100 mini games are in it or something like that, right? Or no, no,
that was for the 3DS. They did that.
Yeah. There's something else.
They're doing something. Yeah.
God, I should really. We are terrible this episode.
I feel like we're doing a bad job. This is bad. We should start all the way back over.
We really should.
We got to write these down.
I'll hand you my card, Brian. Superstars, Mario Party Superstars. Well, I feel like Super Mario Party just came out, so my mind was thinking Super Mario Party, and it's actually Mario Party Superstars because Nintendo names. So there you have it.
Mario
How could we ever get those confused? Super Mario Party Superstars sounds super. But like that's what we need, right? We need something. Wouldn't it be great? Like we're talking about Destiny and all that, but like wouldn't it be great if Mario Party was a platform? And like when they come up with new mini games, they just put in the new mini games and listen to like feedback on which games suck and take those games out and replace them with the new ones. Wouldn't that be great? Like, yeah, that'd be great. Who doesn't want that? I don't think Mario Party needs to be a franchise. I do think Mario Party needs to exist. But like it should
just as the devil must exist to give proof to God.
Oh my god!
Mario Party must exist.
How can I possibly end on a better note than that? That was my number 2, Mario Party.
Okay. All right. I really don't know where to go from that one. I honestly don't. So let's get into the number 1 here. Okay, here we go. My number 1. I have tried to put this on every list possible in all of our lists, and I have done it. Banjo-Kazooie
oh my gosh.
Should not be a franchise. All right, hear me out. I like all the games.
Oh my God. Who are you?
Banjo-Kazooie, the first game, was perfect. It's a perfect game.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Banjo-Tooie, I enjoyed it when I played it. It is a bad game. It's not a good game. Okay. It's not as bad as Donkey Kong 64 because
wait, who are you?
In that, okay, Donkey Kong 64, you have to change all the monkeys and get different colored bananas, and you can see them all. It's horrendous. It's
talking about the apes. Brian?
The apes. Yeah, the monkeys, the apes, the orangutans, the gorillas. Every single one of them is a different type of primate. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not that far. Banjo-Tooie is not that far in that direction, but it still didn't have the magic where Banjo-Kazooie thrived. I want to be able to go into a level and do everything. I don't want to go into a level and do like 20% of it and then have to come back 20 hours later after I've gone 8 levels into the game to then come back and put on my shoes to walk through the mud. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to figure it all out and get it done right then and there and put a big stamp on that level.
Mm-hmm.
Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is a good game, but it went so far in a completely opposite direction, and it shouldn't have been a Banjo-Kazooie game. It should have just been some car creation game.
I think it was meant to be, right?
Really?
Else. I think it was.
Yeah. And they just slapped Banjo-Kazooie in it?
Right, when they got the rights.
That was bad. I did not like the style, like the art style of that game. And I just think Banjo-Kazooie should have been just a singular experience. It would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even get to do the stop and swap mechanic that they wanted. It just, if they're not going to do it right, they shouldn't do it at all. And they failed in that respect. And I'm disappointed to say that, but it's the reality of the situation.
Yeah. So I have a confession to make. I was going to put Banjo-Kazooie on my list.
Really?
I was. It would have been lower on my list, so I'm glad I did not, because this would have ruined your moment. And on top of that, the reason I kept it off my list is because I was like, I can't crush Brian. I can't like crush my co-host.
You can't have it on your list, but I can have it on my list.
I feel like that's the right answer.
I see.
And it's better this way.
Yeah, I hear you.
This way. But I'm pretty surprised by this. I gotta be honest. Yeah, I mean, you've stuck up for nuts and bolts before on this very podcast.
Again, it's a good game.
Banjo-Kazooie.
I don't think it should be a Banjo-Kazooie game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Of course, I get it. Absolutely. Yeah. Like
it's like Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's a good movie. It's a bad
slow down,
Indiana
Turbo.
Jones.
Slow down, Turbo. What world is that a good movie in? Like, I love Indiana Jones.
It's got action. It's got adventure. It's got music. It's got aliens. I mean, and I'm
not even poo-pooing on the alien thing, right? Like, they could have done the aliens and it would have been okay. It was like the swinging on the trees, like with
the monkeys.
Come on, Brian. Come on, dude. They take like right after that, they take like a 500 to 1,000 foot tumble off a waterfall. Everybody's fine. Don't trip. Like, they're in the boat. It's cool.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I've seen that happen. I've seen crazier things happen than that. I've seen a man get into a fridge and launch himself.
This was all in the same movie. And then he goes like 10 G's on that like rocket like tester or whatever. Like, I don't even know what's happening in this movie. We just mentioned 5 things that make no sense that they're in the same movie together, right? Like, come on.
So that's where I'm at. That would have been a good movie, but it was a bad Indiana Jones movie. So we
I don't think it would have been a good movie. No, we are not. We are not in agreement. I love Indiana Jones, dude. I love it, Indiana Jones. Seriously, big time. Who doesn't?
But there's only 3 movies.
No, there's a 4th movie. It exists.
Oh.
I'm just really upset that it does. All right. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big one, I think, too. And guess what, guys? You waited this whole time for a cop-out. Because my number 1 is Final Fantasy.
Oh, jeez.
What?
So Final Fantasy is the first game, and then they should have stopped?
They should have stopped. It is called Final Fantasy, Brian.
That is a cop-out.
It's a total cop-out. Oh. I get that it was called Final Fantasy because they thought they were going to go out of business, but they didn't make sales, and then they did make sales, and blah blah blah. But think about this, dude. What are we getting now? Final Fantasy 16 and it's 16. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16. Now think about that for a minute. Final Fantasy, but it's the 16th one. What?
Okay.
What?
Aren't you excited that Final Fantasy 13 is coming to Game Pass?
I don't know. I guess. Isn't 13 terrible?
13, I didn't like it. I put like 20 hours, and they said I
actually want to play
30 hours.
15, which is part of the PlayStation Plus collection.
Ah,
yeah, I do want to play 15.
But you'll be more excited when 13, 2, and 3 come out on Game Pass. More so. Nope. Okay.
No, even less so. But look, I'm not saying there have been good entries in the franchise. There have been bad entries in the franchise too. And I'm not saying that those games shouldn't have existed, but like they've done this before. They did Final Fantasy Adventure, which was really like Secret of Mana Part 1. And then they did Secret of Mana, right? And then they did, they got Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. Like they could have just started a new naming convention. You had Final Fantasy. Like why make Final Fantasy 2? That's stupid. That is a dumb idea. Like, I'm sorry. Armchair developer, armchair namer of things here. I would not name my game Final Fantasy 2 or any number after that. Like, I would just start a new naming convention. Like, and you could even put, if you're worried about like, oh, they won't know it's tied to this game that sold really well, you could literally put on the cover from the makers of Final Fantasy. You could put it in every piece of media that you ever make about the game from the creators of Final Fantasy. Like, boom, problem solved. And then you wouldn't have this silly name being like repeated in perpetua, because that's what we are living with now. Like, that's what we're going to have. We're going to be on a deathbed and be like, Final Fantasy 50. What in the world is happening here?
Oh, we will get there. I guarantee
we will. We will get there. That's crazy.
Man, have there been 50 Final Fantasy games yet?
Probably.
I'm
right?
sure
Like side stories, if you count tactics, things like that. Probably.
Chronicles. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Whew.
So yeah, it's kind of a cop out, but also kind of not. Like it just like it's in the name, dude. Final Fantasy. It's logical.
You think that all of the games that they have made with the Final Fantasy name shouldn't have been grouped as one franchise, basically?
I mean, there's a very valid argument for that as well.
Okay.
Like I would, if anybody said like, I think they should all have individual titles. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, cause 13 and 13.2 and 13.3 X and X2, right? Like Final Fantasy 10 and then X2, like, yeah, that's silly. That's silly too. Right. But if this was like, instead of Final Fantasy 10, if it was like Blitz Ball, Titus Blitzball or whatever it's called. What's the character's name, right? You know,
well, they made Blitz like, the League, right?
Well, that's a different thing. That's
okay.
Blitz, yeah.
See, that's why they named it Final Fantasy, because people would have gotten confused. They would have been like, "Well, I want to play the Blitz game."
Right. Oh, they'll pick up wait, was it Blitzball? Was that the name of the game in Final Fantasy?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I have no idea.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, no, it was Blitzball. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just don't. It doesn't. So yeah, there's a valid argument for that, for them each having their own name. But like, fine, if they all have to be the same name, it shouldn't be Final Fantasy. Like, drop the final even.
Just fantasy.
Just like, well, that's kind of silly too, though, right? You could call it like, I don't know,
Adventure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Final Adventure.
Perfect. Then Final Adventure 2 and Final Adventure 3. Yeah. Like,
there we go.
Yeah. Ongoing fantasy.
This fantasy ain't over yet.
Never ending fantasy. I mean, there's a lot of options here.
But see, then we got never ending story. So I think they did.
So you might even get more sales because people will be like, "Oh, this is like the never ending story."
Where's the dog though? I wanted to see the dog.
The dog dragon. The Dogrin.
I think they did the best that they could. You know, there's only so many names out there. Final Fantasy probably worked with their SEO, so that's what they were going.
There's only so many names out there. There wasn't even SEO at the time. What are you talking about? There's only so many names out there. there's some like limit to this.
That's right.
You could have named it anything. Literally ongoing fantasy.
Ongoing fantasy. I would have liked that.
Yeah, never ending.
But what if they couldn't make a second game? Then they would have had egg on their face for that.
Well, if you're not a game company anymore, I don't think there's any face to put egg on. So like you're good, dude.
Yeah.
You're in the clear.
Man. Yeah.
All right. There you go. Right? Like you get it, don't you?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But do you
No, I totally get where you're coming from.
That sounded sarcastic. Listeners, that sounded sarcastic.
Here's how I reconcile this. They all need to have different names. Like they need to. They had things going with Secret of Mana and Chrono Trigger and like
that many. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they could have had more tendrils out there and decided what to do at that point. But yeah. We're stuck with Final Fantasy forever.
We are. A few things I wanted to say. I really, really wanted to include Sonic on this list, especially after the mess that Sonic Colors Ultimates release has been happening. Like this weekend is really bad.
But that's the Sonic that we know and love, like just falling through the earth at a moment's notice.
I find it funny that it's called like Colors Ultimate, and it's like literally all you see is a bunch of like colors thrown at your face. Like
it's a mess.
Look, this is the name of the game. Like, chill out. It is a terrible mess, and I feel for anybody who pre-ordered that game. But did anybody pre-order that game?
No, I don't think so.
But Sonic 2 is good. Sonic and Knuckles was good. There have been Sonic Adventure was good. There have been too many good entries, even if the majority of the entries in the Sonic franchise are crap. So there you go. If you want to fire at me again, you got that ammo. I also almost included Call of Duty, but it's the same logic. There are good ones there too. You know, there are enough good ones there that like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I was thinking about Tetris and Luminous. Like, yeah, we have it. We have the game. We don't need any more.
Right. That's true. That's true. But Tetris 99 is really, really cool.
Yeah. That's innovation right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a show for next week.
We do.
We are going to go with our top 10 underrated games.
That's right. Wait, real quick. By the way, this week's list was courtesy of Keith from the main quest. I can't believe we waited this long to say that, but thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. We're always happy to take listener suggestions and make them into episodes. This one was very, very tough. Very tough.
Keith, let us know if you made it to the end of this episode to hear your name.
Oh, true. Yeah.
We'll know if you listened.
Yeah, we'll know. We'll know.
This was a good one. It was challenging for sure. But I think we nailed it. I think we got the definitive lists here.
Yeah. Not bad. Did we have any crossover at all? I don't think we had a single game crossover between our two lists.
Oh, wow. That's a first.
So we covered 22 games between the two of us.
That has never happened
on a
before.
list like this too. I had a tough time making this list.
Wow.
I thought we'd have some crossover. Yeah.
That's astonishing, actually.
It's pretty astonishing. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Huh.
Crazy. Maybe it's just the first time I noticed.
No. There's always been a time where we're like, well, I also had that on my list. So, Wow, I'm blown away. I don't think that'll ever happen again, but let's try to make it happen every week.
For sure. I do. I actively try to not think like Brian.
Brian's going to have this one.
Yeah.
Better skip it.
Yeah. We got close. There were a few close calls, man. Like I said, Banjo-Kazooie, Star Fox.
Yeah.
But I actually followed the rules of the list with Star Fox. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Greatest rare game ever.
So, you were saying we have a list for next week.
Yes. There's top 10 underrated games, the games that have not gotten enough love, or I don't know, just games that we feel haven't seen maybe the critical acclaim. There's probably like niches that people love these games, but maybe they're underrated for us even.
Right. Right. Didn't get the exposure they should have. They're deserving of. Yeah. No, It's going to be fun. This is going to be a good one. I already have a few in mind.
Me too. Yeah. Just thinking about it.
Yeah. So as always, guys, hope you enjoyed the episode and we hope you have a great week. Bye.
See ya.